Hi there, welcome back to part 2 of my how to make a Pokemon fan game using PSDK tutorial series. Today we're going to be opening up Pokemon Studio and going into that Pokemon tab, adding in new Pokemon, new forms, giving them their sprite, kind of showing you how that works, giving them new moves, assigning evolutions, all that information, pretty much any data related stuff to like a Pokemon, showing you how to modify it and essentially make a new Pokemon from scratch. So I don't have a lot of time, so I'll just try to get right on into it. We're going to open up Pokemon Studio as always and open up our project. First thing we're always going to want to do is see if there's an update for PSDK. I believe this usually shows green if there is, so you should know, but if not, just click on this and just see anyways. And then go over here into this tab and go to Pokemon. Now, like I said, I think in the first video, it is just beautifully displayed. And it's really easy to just modify everything and just kind of like take in all this information. But I think what we want to do is just kind of look at the Pokemon list here and just show off how easy it is to look for specific Pokemon. You know, let's say we wanted to look at Diglett and maybe see its Alolan form, you know, like it's just really easy to do. But more importantly, I was asked a lot in my original series on how to make a new Pokemon, so that's something I wanted to make sure that I went over. And I also work on my own project called Pokemon Umbra, and it has tons of Fakemon, so I'm going to be taking from there. And the one today we're going to be taking is X-Serval, the pure ground type, so we're not going to put anything in the second type, but obviously if yours was a dual typing, you would put something there. And this is pretty important. We need to make sure that whatever you put this, it doesn't have to be the same as this, but I would really highly suggest that it is the same, because realistically, if we go here into our project and we go into the data tab and go into Studio and go into Pokemon, that's what this is. And this has all of the information that we're about to go and do in here is going to be in whatever this name is, JSON file in that specific folder. So it doesn't have to be the same as this, but just make sure that you know, I guess, whatever this is in that folder, you know, just be able to figure out what it is. So highly suggest being the same as the actual name of the Pokemon. And I have a little wiki here. So this is X-Serval, absolutely adorable little mon. And we're gonna go into the Pokedex entry here, just do a little copy and paste, and it's gonna go into the description because that's what the description is. And then we're gonna hit add this Pokemon. Now, by default, you're gonna see this here. It's gonna say Pokemon Sprite, and you're gonna see a number here, number 803, right? So this is really convenient that it tells us the number. So again, we're gonna open up our project, go into our graphics, go into Pokedex, and then go into Pokefront. Now, this is the front sprites of all of the Pokemon, and as you can see here, it shows the Pokemon's Pokedex number. And then if there's a gender difference, we have 003 and 003F. See that? So there's the females and the regulars, but you're not going to see a shiny here. Shinies actually go in their own, but have the same situation. Alright, so pretty easy to take in. Also, highly suggest that your sprite is going to be consistent and with all the other ones. So you want to do 96 by 96 for the dimensions. Now, if we're adding in a new sprite, we need to look at this number that is next to the Pokemon, and that is the name of this the sprite. So I had set up a graphics folder already that's going to include the sprite for me right here. It's 803. I did it for all of them, so make sure that you do that so that you have all of your sprites. I'm not going to go over how to make a sprite because I'm not a pixel artist. These were actually made by the Picky Pixel Artist over on Twitter. Super talented. He works on Umbra. He makes pretty much all of our sprites. So we're going to be using X-Serval and War Rush for today's video. So yeah, let's just copy this Pokedex folder, go into my project, and I'm gonna paste it here, and I'm gonna replace, just so that I have all of my pictures. So now that I did that, if I go to a different Pokemon and come back to Exserval, it's going to have this sprite there. Now, if I change the sprite, it's actually not going to update. It's going to remain, I believe it's going to remain what this is. Or if I remove the sprite, it would keep this at least. So now that we have Exserval's sprite in there, we've now made our new Pokemon, gave it a dex entry number, and also gave it an icon or a sprite. And I guess we assigned it its typing as well. More importantly, what you're going to want to do here is assign its region ID number. I suggest this just because by default, its number is going to be 803 in the national dex, and I'm not sure if it's going to display any number if this is just blank. It might just show 0. So I would highly suggest, if you're making a custom Pokemon, to think about where it's going to be in your Pokedex and give it that number. So for example, we're going to give it 12, because why not? And now over here in the Pokedex, we're able to edit its height, its weight, and its species. Now it's not going to say high speed Pokemon for you. It's only doing that because I've attempted to make this video like 3 times now. So high speed is actually the right species. I guess it stores that in the text. So this is probably in like one of the 1000 text files that you can actually find here. It's probably in one of these, is what I was trying to say. That stores like the Pokedex or the Pokemon's name, its species, stuff like that. Oh yeah, wait, it's literally the one I clicked. It's 1001. Yeah. So that's why it remembered the high-speed Pokemon, because it actually edits this, these CSV files. It's a little complicated, but you don't really need to understand all of that technically. But if you do understand it, then you know how to edit outside of Studio. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna give it its height. Just pay attention; it is in meters and kilograms, not feet and pounds. So just keep that in mind when you are assigning the height and the weight. So just like that, we've just assigned the height and weight to our Exserval. Really easy. Now, if we wanted to give it an evolution, that's also a custom mon, I guess we have a problem there, don't we? Because it doesn't exist yet. Not really that much of a problem. We don't even have to hit save, but I just do it out of habit, just to save all the progress that we've made so far. But we're gonna add a new Pokemon here. We're gonna add in War Rush. Give it its description as well. Again, this one is from our wiki. These are this is actually we have a fun designing process. So I believe Exserval and War Rush were conceptualized by Adar and Ian. Ian is Picky Pixel Artist, and then ends up getting sprited by Ian, and then drawn over here by Jerry. Jerry does all of our like official art. Well, I guess it doesn't want to pop up, but yeah, he does all of our official art. So props to the team. Love them to death. They all are so very talented. And then we're gonna put in a description here. Give it its typing, and then again, we want to make sure that we can figure out where. And give it War Rush. Now it knew the icon sprite already because I put it in there as 804. So that will happen if it already knows. If it already exists, then it's going to just pull from this number. So again, we're going to go back to Exserval, go to Evolution, go to War Rush, add a condition. Now this is really awesome. You can do really customized evolutions through this. But we're gonna go over really quickly. By level increase means once it hits this level, so once it's at level 18, and every time it levels up beyond that, so 18 and above, it will evolve into this Pokemon. Now, if we wanted to do before a level, we would do like 18, for example. If you wanted to evolve between 1, I believe this one would be 1 and 17, if you wanted it to evolve into War Rush. If you wanted to do with an evolution stone, it actually pulls from the item list of items that are categorized as evolution stones. So you could, if you had a custom stone, it would appear in this list. You have Sunstone, Moonstone, Firestone, pretty much all of them. By trading with a trainer, so this is done by a custom script command. If it gets traded with basically it's gonna evolve. If you trade for a specific Pokemon. Same situation though, it still needs to be traded, but it needs to be traded for another very specific one. Then you have by holding an item. So this is obviously if it holds an item and levels up. This is, well, actually, yeah. If you do holding an item and I assume leveling up as well, which maybe it should. I would assume it's not going to automatically evolve just by holding it alone. But you would also want to include that condition by level increase, you know, just to be safe. But I don't think, maybe by default this wouldn't do anything. But then you can also delete the condition very easily. So very nice for just showing them all off. You do before maximum loyalty. So if you wanted it to be between 1 and 170, for example, or you could do, where is it? With a minimum loyalty. So if you wanted to be 170 plus, you wanted to have a specific move, and then also again a level increase, but that's not really necessary. You could do, depending on the weather, which will check the weather of, I assume, a battle, or it could also probably check the weather of the map. We'll probably update at the end of a battle or on level up. You have depending on the environment, which is checking very specifically system tags, which check the tile. You have at a certain time of day, which just checks the day, sunset, night, morning switch. If the player is on a specific map, which you actually get this from RPG Maker, you would right click on your map and go into the properties and it would tell you the map ID. Depending on the gender of the Pokemon, male, female, or even unknown, depending on a very specific function. Now this is something that you would have to code. These are things that I will go over in the future, but things that are a little bit more complicated that involves actual coding, I think. And then of course by Mega Evolution, which I would assume you need to click on one of the Mega Stones. Oh. And then it will evolve into Mega Exerval. Very cool that it automatically changes the name and actually doesn't even let you pick the Pokemon that it evolves into. So yeah, we're gonna go into by level increase into War Rush, and we're gonna end up picking level 24. Alright, so now that we've set it to evolve at level 24, we're going to set its abilities, which again, if we check on the wiki here, go over here to Exerval, we're going to see it has Limber and Sand Rush. Now notice it only has one ability and one hidden ability. So we need to actually assign Limber twice. So how this works is there's a 50% chance it's going to have ability 1, and 40% chance, I believe, for ability 2. And 10% chance for the hidden ability. If I'm wrong on that, then the odds are 50, 45, and 5. But I believe it's 50, 40, and... So again, it had Limber and Sand Rush. And you just click over here to close this tab. I know it doesn't have a save button or like a little button to click to like close out of it, but if it wasn't obvious, you just click over here outside of it and it will close it and save all the information. Now, the experience that we get is medium fast. Now, you can find most of this information over on Bulbapedia. So if you looked up like Bulbasaur, for example, and go here, you could just see right here it's medium slow, which is worded exactly the same Pokemon. So we are medium fast with a base experience of 59 and a catch rate. Oh wait, sorry, the friendship is here, which you usually won't need to modify this unless you have a unique Pokemon whose gimmick is to not have 70 base friendship. So that was 59 with a 200 catch rate, so he's pretty easy to catch. Now this one is going to do an Exerval. This, whenever you click on this, it's always going to be the same Pokemon that you're currently making. It doesn't check whether something evolves into it or anything. So by default, when you do this, it's gonna always pick its own species. So we don't need to change it for the baby Pokemon. However, if we were modifying War Rush, we need to make sure that we are changing this to turn into X-Serval. And again, it has the field egg group. So just like with the abilities, we actually do need to do the same thing. We can't leave it undefined. We do need to do field twice. I think in the future they may change that, but make sure that at the moment you're always filling in as much information as possible. Don't leave any of them empty except for the typing. And then we also have to put in the hatch steps, which is going to be 5,120. A lot. But if you had left it as undefined instead of field, it's actually one of the egg groups. So it would say field and undefined instead of just field, which is not Now we filled in most of the information. We just have to do the stats and then edit its move pool information. And then this Pokemon's literally done. It's fully in the game. It'll have everything, all the moves that it needs by level up. It'll have its catch rate, its defender rate, all that stuff. Like it's super easy to do. Now let's just get going then. Let's just get that done with really quickly. I think since some of this is really tedious, I think I'm just gonna end up speeding up through some of this. So especially the assigning the moves. That part is very tedious. I won't lie, but it looks nice and it's not that hard. It's just, you know, you add in a lot of information. It's never going to be fun. So let's add in its EV yield real quickly and its stats, moves, and then wrap up this video. I just want to say before I completely mute, here the best thing to do, you can't do this in you can't really do this everywhere in Pokemon Studio, but for the stats, when you're adding in a bunch of mods, it's just going to be convenient to always start at HP and just do 30, tab, 50, 60, 20, 85, stuff like that. You know, just press tab. It's one of the few places where you can actually use the tab and fill in the information really quickly. And if you're adding in like 200 Pokemon like we are doing with Umbra, stuff like that just really does help save a lot of time. Now you may have noticed that when I did that, I kind of just put in a bunch of moves first, just kind of filled in, I think about like 10 of them, and then added them almost going from the highest one down. I find it to be really convenient. It would also be more convenient if I knew exactly how many moves I was going to add. So if you counted that first and then added it, it would just make it a little bit quicker. I'm always trying to find ways to make it more convenient and faster for me to add in these moves because there is a lot of them. So one really cool thing that PSDK does, or sorry, Pokemon Studio does, is there's a import a move pool button. So we're gonna save real quickly. I'm gonna show this off. If we go over here to War Rush and we do import a move pool, go to X-Serval, right, and we hit validate, it adds in all of the moves that we just added from X-Serval, completely at the same levels and everything. So what's really convenient about this, in case you don't know, once a Pokemon evolves about that level, and all the moves it learns after that level, they have just a few more levels until it learns that. So this is really convenient for people who are adding in a lot of Pokemon. So for example, X-Serval evolves into War Rush at 24. So originally it learned agility at 26, but now it's going to learn it at 28. So it's little things like that. So we don't have to do all of the Scratch, Tail Whip, Sand Attack, Quick Attack moves because none of these, all the way up until Takedown, none of those changed because they happen before they evolve. So stuff like that's just really nice for saving some time. So yeah, and you can do that for the tutor, the TM, by breeding, and by the moves that it learns when it evolves. So all of that, you can do it for all of those, though you probably won't do it for the evolving ones too often. I just wanted to show that off. Let's go back to X-Serval real quickly and fill in even more information. Also, in case you didn't know, there's a little trash can button here. That's in case you add in a move that you want to delete. Something I wanted to show off here with the TMs is that you can actually type in the TM number. So if you just did 1, it would show obviously everything with 1 in it. So maybe that wasn't the best one. However, if you did 10, it would show 10 and 100. So if I did TM 01, it would show Hone Claws. So there's different ways you could do it. You could also do just Hone Claws. So you can look up the name of the move, or you can look up the TM number. I thought that was really, really convenient for just making it much easier. If you know the TM of your of the move, then you can look that up. Or if you just know the move's name, you can look it up. It's just 2 different ways, I guess, that you can look it up. All right, and just like that, we added in all the moves for its level up, and now all of its moves for its TM and HM. These are definitely a pain to put in. I won't lie to you. Hopefully you don't have to do too many of them. I know in the future they are planning on implementing updates to the UI to make things like this even easier and more convenient to you. They've said that, but for now, let's move on to what we wanted to learn when it would evolve. So when you added a move by evolving, you actually would do it to the Pokemon that is just evolved. So for example, you wouldn't give it to Exerval, you would actually give it to War Rush. So it checks it at the end of the evolution scene if it's supposed to learn any new moves, and then it will assign it to them. So we don't have any here. However, if you had, for example, Charizard, I'm not sure if Charizard learned anything, but let's just say it learned like Blast Burn or something. When Charmeleon evolved into Charizard, it could learn Blast Burn, for example. You would want to give it to Charizard, not Charmeleon. So again, it checks this at the end of the evolution scene. If there's any moves here, it will try to learn them. So this wouldn't go to Exerval, it would go to War Rush, or in the example that I gave you, it would go into Charizard, not Charmeleon. So. And moves learned by tutor are pretty self-explanatory. This just pulls from all of the moves, just like it did with the learn pool. Just pulls from every single move in the game. So with that being said, I think we've shown off all of the level up moves and the TM and HM. Let's see what he looks like when we add him into the game. Make sure you hit the save button down here, and let's go launch our game. So let's launch our game here. We're not going to open up the project in RPG Maker. We're just going to launch it directly. This is the first time I've launched it, so we should have the entire intro scene to go through, and I may have some config files to load, but that's ideal for showing off in the tutorial. So just like that, this tutorial project has now been launched. We get to change our language. We only gave English when we set up our project, so there's only one option. And it shows off the little fire red leaf green intro scene. This is so cool when they did this. They actually did it completely through the event, so props to them. We're gonna hit play, and it's gonna give you a little intro scene showing off Professor Oak. Hello and welcome to Pokemon Temporary Demo. This demo has been quickly created so that you can see some features of PSDK, but a better demo will come later. Now, before we start, I'd like to know what appearance suits you. Are you right or left? We are right. Sure. We're gonna be Dawn. Dawn is a great name. Are you fine with it? I am. Perfect. Do you know how to change the controls? Yes. Okay, well, I think we are all set. I'll let you discover what this demo has on making a game. In case you don't know, you can press F1 and it will let you open up this little menu and change your control. So, yeah. Now, we have no Pokemon, obviously. I'm going to save just so I don't have to go through that intro again. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the console over here, and we're going to hit s.mi add underscore Pokemon, and then we do the number. So for us, if we check again, it's 803 for Exerval, and then we do the level, so it's going to be 10, and then we close it and we hit enter. Okay, it says please do not use this function in events and scripts. That's okay, this is a console shortcut. So here we go, just like that. We have Exerval, and as you see, he's animated. Now, this isn't something that I went over yet because I was a little bit unsure of whether it would show off in game or not. But yeah, so if you can use 2-frame icons, so if we go over here into the graphics and go over here into Pokédex and go into Poke icon, you're gonna notice that by default they don't use 2-frame icons, so it is entirely up to you whether you want to do it. Just make sure that each frame is still 32 by 32. So if you're doing 2 frames, it would obviously be 32 by 64, just like I did here, and how we do it in Umbra. But it does load in all of the frames. It just reads them and spits them out as basically an animation. But again, by default, it doesn't have that for all the other sprites. So that's up to you whether you want to do that and whether you want it to be consistent or not. But as you can see, what we just did work. He has his little moves, tail whip, scratch, quick attack, and sand attack, which if we go and check its move pool editor by level up and go check out the 10, that's the moves that it would have. So very cool. I believe it picks the 4 most recent ones. So if we made it level 14, it would have tail whip, sand attack, quick attack, and bite. But just like that, he's now in the game, and it's really easy to add in new Pokemon. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for making it through this video. Hopefully I was able to help you add in a new Pokemon. This is something that was requested a long time ago when we were still using Ruby Host, but now we're using Pokemon Studio. So it was only time until I was going to do it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.